So at the outset, I would like to thank Novartis for giving me this opportunity, and thank you, Asmati, for the kind introduction. My name is Dr. Dhanashree Ratra, and I am a senior consultant at Italia. I would be talking to you about diabetic macular edema, the prevalence and pathogenesis, what the ophthalmologists need to know. So last year, from about 1.5 years, last 1.5 years, the entire world has been gripped by this horrible pandemic of corona. But do you know that there is a more serious, a deadlier pandemic than the corona pandemic is happening right now, and has been happening for quite a few years, and that is the pandemic of diabetes mellitus. Yes, diabetes mellitus has achieved epic proportions to be called a pandemic. Let us look at some statistics. Diabetes is the leading cause of death globally. It has the death by diabetes is much more than that by HIV or tuberculosis or other infectious diseases. And India has the dubious distinction of being the second highest number of diabetic patients. So if you look at the statistics published by the International Diabetes Federation Diabetes Atlas in 2019, there are about 463 million patients with diabetes living in the world. Out of these, 88 million are in Southeast Asia. And among these, 77 million are in India alone. So you can imagine the number of diabetics in India. And according to the prediction, there is bound to be a 74% increase in this number of diabetics, by which prediction India is going to reach about 134 million diabetics in the next 25 years. So as the statistics stand today, 1 in every 6 diabetics in the world is an Indian. So the prevalence of diabetes all over the world varies, and India it's about 9 to 12%. And this is the state-wise prevalence of diabetes. You can see that Tamil Nadu and Kerala are at the highest prevalence of diabetes. So you know that diabetes affects all the organs in the body, but the eye is affected majorly. All the tissues in the eye are affected by diabetes, but the retina is the major problem because it carries a high risk of blindness. So you know that diabetic retinopathy develops in diabetic patients, and the diabetic retinopathy involves leakage of fluid in the retina with hemorrhages, exudates, and the swelling of retina in the macula, which is termed as macular edema. So the prevalence of diabetic retinopathy has been recorded by various studies, and the study done by Shankar Netralaya by Rajiv has given the prevalence of retinopathy at 18%. And another study by Dr. Mohan's group has shown the prevalence to be about 20.8%. And a few studies have given the prevalence of diabetic macular edema, and it ranges from about say 4% to 14%. So let us look at the pathogenesis of diabetic retinopathy and DME, and why we should even bother about pathogenesis. That is because it can help us avoid the risk factors, and it can also help us identify the therapeutic targets. So this slide shows you the pathogenesis of DME, and as you can see, it is a busy slide and everything is interconnected with everything. So it's a little complex, but let me take you through it. So this is increased blood sugar in diabetes is metabolized through 4 major pathways. So you have the exosamin pathway, the advanced glycation end product pathway, the PKC pathway, and the polyol pathway. Now these pathways are augmented by increased blood pressure as well as dyslipidemia. There are various growth factors which also play a major role in this pathogenesis, as also the hormones such as steroids. Now, when the glucose is metabolized through these pathways, it leads to oxidative stress. And this oxidative stress leads to further apoptosis of the retinal ganglion cells and the damage to retinal capillary endothelium. It also produces a lot of inflammatory factors, and these inflammatory factors lead to breakdown of blood retinal barrier and eventually formation of diabetic retinopathy. So again, you can see that the diabetic retinopathy also has an element of neural dysfunction, and this along with vascular permeability leads to diabetic retinopathy. Diabetic retinopathy goes through various stages such as mild non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, moderate NPDR, severe NPDR, and proliferative diabetic retinopathy. Macular edema can be present with any stage of the diabetic retinopathy. And you all know that the changes involve microaneurysms to begin with, and later you have further capillary microangiopathy leading to intraretinal hemorrhages, venous bleeding, basement membrane thickening, and microvascular abnormalities. These eventually lead to neovascularization, retinal detachment, vitreous hemorrhage, and vision loss. There is also a separate inflammatory pathway that many people believe exists in diabetes. And this inflammatory pathway works through the ICAM molecules. These molecules, they lead to leukocyte adhesion to the retinal endothelium. The inflammatory mediators and the leukostasis eventually lead to endothelial cell junction breakdown, leukocyte formation, and pericyte loss. This leads to blood retinal barrier breakdown and eventually a macular edema due to transudation of fluid. So VEGF is the important factor among all these factors, which has been shown to play a major role in the development and progression of diabetic retinopathy as well as DME. It leads to a lot of structural and functional changes in various parts of the eye, and especially in the retina, it leads to breakdown of the capillaries, the blood retinal barrier breakdown, leakage from the capillaries, microaneurysm formation, and eventually neovascularization. So VEGF is an important therapeutic target because VEGF is driven by hyperglycemia, by hypoxia, and by various other growth factors. And there has been seen to be overexpression of VEGF in diabetes as well as in both diabetic retinopathy as well as in DME. And therefore, VEGF represents rational target for treatment of diabetic retinopathy as well as DME. So the VEGF mediated blood retinal barrier leads to accumulation of fluid. So you see this is a compact retina, a normal retina which shows you compact layers, but with the slow accumulation of the fluid, sometimes under the retina as well as the intraretinal fluid, you see thickening of the retina and swelling at the macular edema, causing a compromised vision. So you can have various types of macular edema. It can range from a simple non-center involving macular edema such as this, or it can have a focal macular edema with just one type of succinate involving the center, or you can have severe diffuse macular edema such as this with hard exudates deposited at the fovea. So there are different patterns. These different patterns can also be explained based on the pathogenesis. And if you have, say, diabetic metabolic dysfunction, which are again augmented by probably some genetic factors, which we are yet unaware of, but this, if leads to vasodilatation alone, then it can lead to a slow progressive type of diabetic macular edema. If there is an endothelial cell loss and hyperpermeability with the loss of blood retinal barrier, then it leads to wet leaky type of diabetic macular edema. And if you have capillary thrombi formation with capillary closure, then it leads to an ischemic type of macular edema. Here you see that the foveal avascular zone is enlarged and a capillary non-perfusion area right next to the fovea. In the OCT, it can show you some diffuse retinal thickening or cystoid macular changes or a neurosensory detachment type of macular edema. The risk factors for development of macular edema are basically long duration of diabetes along with high blood pressure, increased HbA1c, that is poorly controlled diabetes, and also some risk exists if there is a high cholesterol level. It also depends on the type of diabetes. It is more commonly seen in type 1 diabetes, less common in insulin require, and little bit even less common in non-insulin dependent diabetes. And it also depends on the severity of diabetic retinopathy, as I told you. Obviously, with very severe diabetic retinopathy, you would have higher risk of diabetic macular edema. Now, diabetic retinopathy and nephropathy goes hand in hand, that we all know. But it also, diabetic macular edema also is associated with further risk of comorbidities. So it is seen that diabetic patients with DME have a higher rate of both acute MI as well as cerebrovascular accident. So to conclude, I would say that diabetes is a complex disease. Prevalence of diabetes and diabetic retinopathy is on the rise. Diabetic macular edema can occur at any stage of the disease. There are multiple pathways which are involved in the pathogenesis of DME, as well as there are various risk factors. And understanding of these can help prevent vision loss and can help identify newer molecules for treatment. Thank you for your kind attention.